is that I guarantee you many of those people wanted to give up. Many of those people had moments where they just wanted to take a nap. They didn't want to get up and train. They didn't want to get up and eat the things that they need to eat. They didn't want to keep seeing the same course that they were running on. They didn't want to keep seeing the things that they were seeing. And they probably felt as if, I'm tired of going through this process. But they had to be determined in their mind to say, you know what? If I keep doing this, I will place in my goal. I will medal. I'm trying to bring a medal back to my home country. I'm trying to bring pride back to my nation if I win this event. I'm trying to ensure that when I go into this race, or when I go into this soccer match, or when I get on the track field, or the Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Scott here. Thank you for watching and are listening to this week's episode of Leading with Lee, where we talk about life, leadership, and legacy, and want to help you unleash your capacity and level of leadership. I'm so excited that you are here. But before I start sharing today, if you have not done it yet, go and subscribe to Leading with Lee on YouTube and all podcasting platforms. Well, let me first say this before I get started today. This is going to be an interesting episode for me, because as I've been sharing so much so far, this is going to be an unusually shorter episode than you've heard from me. I tend to have a lot to say, but this is going to be a shorter episode because there's some things I want to share with you at the end of today's episode. But before I get too far, as you all know, this month has been Mental Health Awareness Month. There's been so many things going on in our society, and I'm glad that we've had the opportunity to talk about the importance of our mental health. And I had a great guest last time here on Leading with Kamar Kane, who shared about mental health as it relates to men, and particularly Black men. So today I'm going to spend some time talking about mental health, but I'm not going to talk very long. So I want to give you my topic for today. And my topic is a mentality to win. A mentality to win. I want to give you my leadership definition. I do it every single episode here on Leading with Lee, because I think it is important for you to have context on how I think about leadership and why I think the mind is very important. And my leadership definition is this. I believe that leadership is seeing something that has not happened yet and taking people, organizations, and personal processes in that direction. That leadership is seeing something that has not happened yet and taking people, organizations, and personal processes in that direction. I have 2 points today because, as I said it earlier, I really am just going to keep it brief today because I want to share some stuff with you at the end. I have these 2 points, and my 2 points today are: number one, determination starts in the mind, and secondly, your mindset impacts your present and future. So let's start with the first point, because I think these are really important to think about when we talk about the mentality to win. We understand that there is a mental piece that's happening in our minds, where it be the natural mind, meaning that there is a physical mind, meaning you have a frontal lobe or central lobe, you have your actual brain, but then there's something in your neurons that's happening when we talk about the mind. That there's some things happening within your cerebral cortex that helps you make decisions. It affects your memory, it affects how you view the world and how you receive information. And when we talk about determination, it is something that starts here in your head. We know that this summer, or later this summer, we're going to see the Olympics. It's an event that happens every 4 years, and this year it's in Paris. And as you well know, there are people that are right now preparing to compete in the Olympics from countries all over the world. They're preparing to get on a plane and fly to Paris to bring back a medal for their country, to bring back a medal saying, hey, I won this on behalf of my respective country. And people have been doing so much to do that. And I guarantee you, if you think about it, you probably could look at their lives and look at the way they live their lives and see that there had to be some determination there, that there had to be some resilience there. There had to be a desire to keep training, that people spend 3.5 or so years training for one event. There are sprinters right now that have been running races over the last 2 or 3 years for one race. There have been swimmers who spend hours upon hours upon hours in the pool just for one race. There are people that are doing shot put, and there are folks that are pole vaulting and hurdling, and people that are playing or are boxing and doing taekwondo and playing volleyball. They've been doing this over the last 4 years to prepare for this one moment where the world will be watching in the Olympics. And they've been doing this because they believe that this is so important. And what's interesting about this idea of determination that I want to get at is that I guarantee you many of those people wanted to give up. Many of those people had moments where they just wanted to take a nap. They didn't want to get up and train. They didn't want to get up and eat the things that they need to eat. They didn't want to keep seeing the same course that they were running on. They didn't want to keep seeing the things that they were seeing. And they probably felt as if, I'm tired of going through this process. But they had to be determined in their mind to say, you know what? If I keep doing this, I will place in my goal. I will medal. I'm trying to bring a medal back to my home country. I'm trying to bring pride back to my nation if I win this event. I'm trying to ensure that when I go into this race, or when I go into this soccer match, or when I get on the track field or the baseball field, or when I get on any of these sports, I am bringing in a level of understanding, but a level of determination that is going to make a difference in the lives of other people. Could it be that we are in a moment where we have to be determined? That's something my pastor actually has been talking about this year, is that we have to make a determination in our minds that we are going to fulfill the things that we say that we want to do. Olympic athletes are folks who have been determined. They have made up in their minds that they are going to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. They spend every single day, 365 days of the year, focusing on this one goal that they want to accomplish. That is getting a medal, whether it be bronze or silver or gold at the Olympics. And it takes a level of resilience, because you have to train your mind to be resilient. You have to understand that resilience comes through repetition and consistency. Resilience comes through this idea of you putting in the work. Resilience comes through saying, hey, it doesn't matter how my body feels. It doesn't matter that I'm sore. It doesn't matter that I might be having a cold. It doesn't matter that I might just not be in the mood for today. I'm going to get up and do what I need to do today, just because I believe that I have a goal that I'm getting to. You may not be an Olympic athlete, but you have some goals in 2024. For you, it may be saving a certain amount of money. For you, it may be actually getting out of debt. For you, it may be losing some weight. It may be gaining some weight. It may be shifting around some priorities in your life. It's moving like I'm in a process of doing right now. It may be some things that are happening in your life that's affecting how you're going about your work. And you have to make some determinations in that matter. And you got to be driven to stay locked in. You got to be driven to, in spite of all the hurdles, in spite of all the obstacles that you're dealing with, you're going to lock in and do what you need to do. That's the thing that we have to deal with. That's the thing we have to consider today, is that will we be determined in our mind? The reason why it starts in the mind is because oftentimes your mind is the place where you're literally going to be fought the most. I deal with it every day, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I'm determining whether or not I'm going to go to the gym or not. Every time I get up at 4:30, my mind is saying, why are you getting up? You can stay in bed an extra 30 minutes. You do not have to drive 15 minutes to go to the gym. You haven't been eating right like you need to. All these excuses come up in my mind, and I have to make a decision. Am I going to allow what is happening in my head to determine whether or not I'm going to go and put in this work in the gym? Am I going to allow the fact that I can't see the results right now to stop me from going towards my goals? Am I going to allow myself to be stopped by my own insecurities or things that I feel like I'm not doing well? I have to be determined to keep going. Right now, the NBA playoffs is happening. And there are teams right now that have been sent home. And those players got to think about the future. But there are players that are still playing right now here in the playoffs. And they have to make up in their minds that they got to be determined. They have to make up in their minds that hey, I'm going to keep pursuing the goal of winning a championship. I know last year we may have not gotten our goal. Last year we may have not done the thing. Last year we may have not accomplished the things that we want to accomplish, but we're going to keep playing. After every single game, whether they win or lose, the game resets. The game starts over. We start 0-0 after this game is over. If we're not eliminated, we got another game. It's 0-0. I want you to get in your mind that every day is 0-0. There are no points on the board. There are no assists on the board. There are no rebounds. There are no point. There are no fouls. There are no bad moments. It is literally every day is a reset. Every day is an opportunity for you and I to actually figure out how am I going to live my day and be determined to reach my goals today. It could be incremental. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. It's just you understanding that today I plan to win. Are you planning on winning today? Are you planning on actually being successful in your ambitions today? Or you're going to allow things that you've gone through in your life to stop you from getting to your goals? Because it has to be that in your mind. You have to be determined every day. It can't be about the end goal. It has to be about, hey, today I'm going to make a decision to move forward. Today I'm going to do what I need to do. Today I'm going to be nice. Today I'm going to engage in reading. Today I'm going to engage in learning more material. Today I'm going to engage my mind in a way. Today I'm going to engage my family and friends and people that are around me in new ways. It takes it getting past a feeling. It has to get into a mode of a discipline. It has to become a discipline for you, because determination is a discipline. It's not something that you learn overnight. You actually have to push to make this thing a discipline. And this is what we learn from the Olympic athletes and even pro basketball players, that or even athletes in general, they have to be determined to be the best. You know, we talk about him from time to time. You know, he's going on, but the one thing that people celebrate about Kobe Bryant was his mentality. If we talk about the Mamba mentality, people talk about it all the time. He was a determined player. Kobe would go after games and shoot thousands of shots after a basketball game. You played 48 minutes running up and down his court. After games, he would go to the gym and shoot shots. Why? Because he was determined to be better. He was determined to actually be a more productive and successful athlete on the court. So he's willing to put in work that other people weren't willing to put in. And that's the reality. You and I have to be determined to do some things that are unusual for us. We have to go the extra mile. Are you willing to go the extra mile? Are you willing to put in some time? Because that's going to be beneficial to you and I as we move forward. Want to promote your business, products, or services? Email me at scottconsultations@gmail.com. I would love to push forward the banner of what you're trying to accomplish, whether it is a product, whether it's your services or your business. I would love to work with you and be an advocate for what you're doing in your respective spaces. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you. My second and final point. I told you I was going to be quick. My second and final point is this. Your mindset impacts your present and future. Now, many of you may be thinking right now, as I'm talking about our mindset, you may be thinking, well, Lee, how do we get to our present if we don't acknowledge our past? And that there's some credence to that. There's a reality of acknowledging where you have come from. There's a need for you to look back and say, you know, this is my story. This is what made me who I am. But your beginning does not have to define how you will end up or where you will land in your life. There were people that have really inspired me by their story, and there's one person in particular that I thought a great deal about, even in preparing for this, how he overcame the odds. We all know of the host of Family Feud. He's a comedian and someone who has done a lot of interesting work, Steve Harvey. If you do research about Steve Harvey's story, you will find that for many, many years, Steve Harvey was homeless. For many, many years, Steve Harvey was trying to make it in comedy and trying to get his life together, and had 2 young daughters, and had a lot of things happening with him. And Steve shares a story, and I would encourage you to go read his story or hear him talk about his story. There's one particular story that really stood out to me, and I was thinking about it and writing about it. He shares a story of how he went to Florida. He got an opportunity to host the Apollo or perform at the Apollo in New York City, in Harlem, New York City. And he had no way of getting there. But he had got an opportunity to go and do some shows in Florida. And they told him, and they say, hey, man, if you get here on this day, if you make it your business to be here on this day, we'll give you your shot. Steve lived in another state. He drove all the way to Florida, worked back-to-back shows. I mean, ended up getting an extra show. All these things, these doors just opened up for him. He didn't even live in Florida, but he some kind of way got to Florida to do what he needed to do so he could drive to New York to get an opportunity to do something that literally changed the trajectory of his life. But he had something in his mind that said, you know what? It didn't matter what happened in my past. This is the present opportunity that I have in front of me. How can this present opportunity transform my future? How can this present opportunity put me in a position where I now have ownership in Family Feud? Where in the future, I end up having all these shows. I end up hosting the Miss USA pageant, and I end up being someone who's a sought after host, and my radio show blows up, and I end up being a part of the Kings of Comedy, and I've been in a part of all these interesting things start happening in my life because I decided that I was not going to allow my past or the situation that I was in presently, because Steve was homeless at the time. He did not allow his present situation of homelessness to deter him from thinking that he could transform his future. Why is this important? Because you and I have to know in our minds what we're capable of. We have to know in our minds what we can do. Now, I know I'm talking about something that is really difficult in our day and time. We see a lot of content on social media and in our world of people who have achieved their goals. And sometimes people are very generous with how they share about how they got to their goals. But sometimes people are not as forthcoming at how they got to their goals. Sometimes people were already in a particular situation where that it allowed them to leverage what they already had, right? Everybody's starting line is a little bit different. Everybody's starting place is a little bit different. But no matter your starting place, you got to get in your mind that I'm going to make lemonade out of lemons. See, you can start in a great situation, but if you don't see yourself as someone who actually can be effective in the world, you will never be successful. There are people in our society and culture where it's hard to believe that seem like they have everything handed to them. They seem like they have all that they need, whether it be financial or relational, or whether it be social or familial. They may seem like they have everything they need, but it's something going on in their mind that makes them not take advantage of the opportunities that they have. There are folks like Steve who didn't have what they felt like they needed. Yet and still, Steve was determined to say, you know what? In my head, I see myself fulfilling this purpose in my life. What purpose is in your mind that you're seeing that's going to drive you to do some work that's impactful in your world? Because it's completely up to you. It's completely up to you to actually make that determination. It's completely up to you to not allow situations in your life to stop you from actually moving towards your goal. To actually take some steps to say, you know what? I want to think better. If I have in my mind that I'm going to be a successful business owner and leader, I have to have the mindset to think that I can be that. It affects what I do presently. It affects how I operate in my world. If I think that I'm going to be a successful business leader, if I think I'll be a successful husband, if I think I'm going to be a successful engager of content or whatever it is, how I think now about it is affecting my future. It just is. If you think you are a failure, failure is going to come very quickly. If you think that you can be successful, success actually can come very quickly. It all starts here. How you view yourself, how you view the situations in your life, in your mind determines a whole lot about the outcomes. I'm talking about having a mentality to win. You got to get it in your mind that you can do it. There's some things that I have in my mind. There's some things that I can see myself doing. That I will not be deterred because I have it in my head. I can see it. In my mind's eye, I can see myself doing these things. I can see myself fulfilling certain dreams and visions that I have for myself. I'm determined in my mind. It doesn't mean that you're naive and act as if you don't recognize the difficulties of those processes. Because those processes come with resistance. Those processes comes with difficulties, but the reality of it is you got to get it in your mind first. You have to think that it's possible. You have to actually believe that if you go after it, something's going to happen in my favor. You don't have to believe it, but something's going to happen. Something's going to change. Something is going to move me in the right direction. There are things I was thinking about 10 or 15 years ago that I'm living right now. There are things that I was thinking about 5 years ago that I'm literally living right now. There are some things that I'm thinking about right now that I'm going to be living out 5 or 10 years from now. Because it started in my mind. It started with my mindset. It started with my belief in myself, my belief in my ability, my belief in my capacity. I want you to believe in your ability. I want you to believe in your own capacity. I want you to believe in your own ingenuity, your own genius, your own brilliance, your own ability to understand concepts, the way you handle situations. Do not underestimate your gifts. Do not underestimate your talents. Do not underestimate how impactful you can be in the world, because the important thing for you to do is change your mind about it. Now, I know I only had 2 points today, and I know this is probably a shorter episode than I generally give you. But there's a reason for this, because there are some things that's in my mind that are coming true. There's some things that are happening in my personal life. And I really am recognizing over the last few years that I should give myself a break to engage those things. I will be back in August. You won't get any new episodes in the months of June and July, but I'll be back in August. And I'll have so much to share in August. And I'm excited to share some of these things that's happening in my life and the things that are transpiring in my life, because they matter to me. And this is a space where I get to share about what's happening in Lee's world. Just as much as I talk about you about life, leadership, and legacy, I'm being impacted by my own leadership, things that are happening in my life, and me developing my own legacy. And that's what I want for you. I want you to to have it in your mind that you can actually live out the things that you're dreaming about. That everything that can happen in your life is fulfillment of your dreams. That it's not about an individual. It's not about a particular group of people. It's about you being determined and being driven by a mindset of transformation and change. Much love. I will see you in August, and let's get started. Thank you for watching and or listening to this week's episode of Leading with Lee. If you have not done it yet, subscribe on YouTube and all podcasting platforms. If you want to get more information and connect with me, visit me at www.leeascott.com or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lee A. Scott II or Lee A. Scott II. So, thank you for watching. Much love, and let's get started.